All right. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, I would like to introduce everyone to my very good friend, Candace. She's been my friend for over 30 years, and she is a lot like me in a lot of ways. And we're going to talk today about her journey through life and her struggles with who she is and some of the things that she's experienced. So, with all of that, Candace, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Kelly. We have been friends for over 30 years. I've known you
My pleasure.
forever and a day. And I just want to start out by saying that I'm very intuitive. Most people would consider me clairvoyant. I consider myself very gifted because I'm not really for sure what to call my gifts that I do have and that I have known I've had. I mean, I could go all the way back to when I was born pretty much. And with that being said, um, would you have a question for me? Maybe, and we start out that way.
Yeah, let's start with you sort of naming off your abilities. What do you mean when you say you have gifts? What type of things can you do?
Um, okay, I can see uh, into. I'm like an empath. I'm really a heavy empath. I'm pretty a strong empath actually, and I'm clairvoyant, clairaudio, which means that I can see things and I can hear things. I can see spirits.
Right.
I can see them in full
Hmm.
apparition, and I can also see when, because they like to play games a lot, they like to hide and they like to
Yeah.
cloak, which they can cloak.
Right.
And
Right.
um, let's see,
Which is
I had
actually where
visions.
reading the energy comes in handy when they cloak, right? Because you also
Yeah,
can intuitively pick up on the energy.
yes, I pick up on energy. Yeah, and like if
Hmm.
sometimes you have the ones like uh they always cloak. Nobody ever really sees them, but
Hmm.
I can see the pic, I can see pixelation. I can see their pixelation. I know they're there. They know that I know. Okay. And
Right.
another thing that people need to realize is they can hear your words. So we really have to
Right.
watch what we say because our words have consequences. And although we are
Right.
human, we are also, we're everybody's gifted. It's just that everybody's not in tune with it. A lot of people maybe weren't meant to know that they're gifted, but it takes two generations to go from one thing to another. Two generations. Like,
Hmm.
okay, my generation, we didn't have all the technology. I was like a junior in high school or senior before they even come out with computers. Okay.
Hmm.
And so you really had to learn all that stuff from scratch. But
Right.
it was real hard. It was real hard on me in life, like when I was in high school and stuff, because I had to learn how to block stuff out. And uh, I'll start off too with another thing. I was taught that what we have as gifts is also hereditary or at least that's what my dad's side of the family would always say. Oh, it's hereditary. It runs in the bloodlines.
Right. But and my family also believed that. But what I've come to know now is that everyone actually has the gift, like the intuitive gifts. Just that some bloodlines pick up on it easier for some reason. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I would. I think that okay, like what I learned was my dad's side of the family. My mom would always say, "Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that." And I'd say, "Mom, you can if you just put your
Right.
mind to it." "Oh no, I can't."
Right.
She was just like that. But my dad, he would always
Right.
take me fishing and stuff, and he would ask me, or if I went up and told my mom and dad, "Oh, well, I see this or this." And one time when I was 8 years old, because I wasn't born till 67, and JFK
Hmm.
was assassinated in 63. And we were watching
Yeah.
TV, and the episode, one of the news, like 60 Minutes, probably wasn't even out then, but it was something like that. And they had it on there about JFK and the loss and all that. And it showed the CIA, it showed the whole scene and the actual people, because it was like pictures people had taken. And I looked up at my mom and dad and I said, "Oh my gosh, there's that man that killed him." And I pointed to the man on the TV screen, and it wasn't the one that they the one that they said done it. He is not the one that did it. It was actually uh the people are dead now,
G
but
W
it
B.
was GB
Is it W?
Senior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
GWB Senior. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the head
Yeah.
over the CIA at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. On its onslaught at its beginning. Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to keep that light
That's
out,
right.
so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
So, okay, let's pick up back at you were talking about what type of abilities you have. You're clairvoyant, clairaudient. You're an empath, which means you're a natural energy reader. What
yeah,
else?
yeah.
You, prophetic visions, prophetic dreams.
Yes, I do. I have both of those, and I've never been
Hmm.
wrong. When I say
Right.
something, and see, here's another thing too. A lot of times, I won't say anything to anybody unless I have confirmation. I
Right.
meditate and I pray, and I ask for confirmation that I am correct in what I have seen or what I
Hmm.
witnessed. Now, that's in a dream or a vision.
Right.
That's not
Right.
the when I see. That's not when I see the other stuff. Uh, I've
Right.
seen portals. I've
Hmm.
seen portals.
Let's talk
Now,
about that a minute.
okay, good, because I was 54 years old when I started seeing those.
And there's many different kinds of portals. So let's talk about some of the different portals that there are. Because there's scrying that you can do that is essentially it's a portal that you're looking through when you're like scrying through a fire on a candle or scrying in water. You can or scrying through a crystal ball even. Those are ways of opening a portal. Some people scry through the black mirror, which I personally don't like anything to do with, but it is a portal, right? Mirrors are portals.
Yeah, yes, they are. And you should never have them facing
Hmm.
each other. You should never have more than two in one room. And
Right.
if you do and you can't move it, you need to cover it or take the one out, the one that is movable, get it out. Uh, yeah,
Right.
spirits like to pass through that kind of stuff. And I was living out in the country uh, for about a year, like from 2020 to 2021, and I was down at the creek, and where the house was built, it was almost like a moat went around it. This creek, these two creeks meet together, And
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing spirits everywhere. They were everywhere. And I'm not, like the trees have spirits, everything has a spirit. And I
That's
seen their
right.
spirits. And I even seen
Mm-hmm.
how they do, like when in their world, and I'm talking about nature, like in the forest, how
Mm-hmm.
they talk about people that just vanish and stuff like that. Okay. Uh,
They're actually stepping into some type of a portal.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I was standing at the creek, I looked down and I seen a door in the water. But this was just like a small stream. This was water that, the bigger creek was on down, but this was
Mm-hmm.
smaller, just like a stream of a creek, and it was feeding
Right.
into it, coming off of a hill. And I looked down and at first, I was like, because I was paying more attention to the spirits I was seeing in the woods. I mean, I literally seen at least 8 walking around. They was just walking around, and
Mm-hmm.
they noticed me, that I noticed them, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
freaked me out because I never had them really. I guess maybe in my mind's eye or something, I would see them and not pay attention to them, so they just move on.
Right.
But I was really paying
Right.
attention, and they noticed
Mm-hmm.
that. I guess something in me opened up, and when it did, uh, it was full force.
Yeah.
I seen a lot of things. I seen okay, this portal that opened up. There was a door, and it was a green door, dark green, dark green, and had a window in it. And these spirits were going and knocking on the door because they wanted to come up to where I was. They had to have permission. And I was saying in my mind, oh no, you're not coming over here, and you're not following me there. But they had to wait. And uh, the person that answered the door was kind of wild looking. And they were getting permission to come up out
You
of
knock
those
on the
woods.
door?
Huh? What?
Did you knock on the door for it to open,
No,
or they did?
no, they did. They had to go in the water. I was seeing all this through the
Okay.
water when and it was a portal
Gotcha.
and it was open, and the spirits were coming, just going through the woods. And on the other side of the woods, and this is how, like, I always knew ever since I was young that they could hear our words. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was always told about that and told to watch what I say because they can hear your words. And
Yeah.
so sometimes I wondered if they couldn't read our thoughts, maybe, or feel our vibrations or something, because as soon
Yeah.
as, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah. I actually was going to bring that up earlier and forgot to. That we even have to like not try to project our thoughts loudly if we don't want the spirits to hear what we're thinking, because that's an
Yeah,
energy signature of thoughts. Thoughts are very powerful. Thoughts can create.
yeah,
So yeah, they're going to be able to hear thought.
yeah. And
Go ahead.
that's what happened. They heard my
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. Well, my thought was,
Mm-hmm.
oh dear God in heaven, please send my angels, because I don't know, this is not good. I was feeling these bad
Mm-hmm.
vibrations off of them. And
Right.
something came to me, and I said in my mind, you do not have power over me, and I command you to leave. And they did. They left.
Right.
And
Right.
so I walked back up the hill out of the woods. And what I did, I was standing there at the edge of the woods, because where this house was like in the middle of the woods, surrounded by 110 acres. So anyway, um, uh, I looked over and going down the hill to this door where the portal was. There was spiritual military. There was spiritual
Yeah.
military. They were laying on the ground. I seen them have their weapons drawn. Uh, they were hunting demons.
Right. And that is a real thing. People think that that's some kind of fantasy to talk about such
No, it's
things.
not.
But
No, it's
but to
not. I
put
see
it in
them.
comparison, to put it in comparison with the scripture that's written in the Bible speaks of his army, right? God speaks of his army, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we think of it in biblical terms, we're always seeing all these beautiful, pristine angels that, if they have any weapon at all, it's like a sword or maybe a bow and arrow. Who knows? You're not
No,
thinking like
not what I
traditional,
seen.
you're not thinking
Not what I
traditional
seen.
warriors, but I mean, God's soldiers come in all shapes and forms.
Okay, well, the spirit soldiers that I seen were human. And the other ones walking
Like
around in the
humans. Yeah.
woods that I seen, they were not human, but they would put on these suits. I watched them with my own two eyes. They put on a suit, and when they put the suit on, it made their body human looking. And then some would put a mask on, and it would make it look kind of like a troll, like a troll or human. And this thought come into my mind: do not fear, do not fear. Because I mean, when I seen that, I was like, what? Like fear went through my whole body.
Sure.
Okay. And I have to take a deep breath when I talk about some of this
Yeah.
stuff, because I was seeing
Take
some
your time.
heavy stuff. I was seeing some
Yeah.
heavy stuff. Everybody has accused me of being on drugs, being crazy. Oh, don't listen to her. She's
Right.
nuts. But you know what?
Right.
I am 100% straight. I'm 100% drug free. I'm 100% in my right mind. I was in the medical field for 38 years.
Right.
And we used to see ghosts or spirits. I always called them spirits. We used to see them going through the hospital and the nursing home if you work third shift.
Right.
I mean, regular people, that don't claim to have nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had suppression for 56 years that I've not been able to ever really go up and talk to people or tell them what I see about them. But when I was a young girl growing up in southern Indiana, I went to a really prestigious high school that they have here and stuff. And I used to see, I could tell you all the people that were being molested by their parents or uncle or grandpa or dad, their own father. I seen that shit
Right. And
growing up,
but right,
but
but
I
you
could never
saw it
say
because you
nothing.
were actually but you saw it because you were astral projecting, correct? Because you didn't actually say that part.
Astro,
Just but I know you, so I know the story. You were your spirit was leaving your body, and you were floating across people's homes and seeing these atrocities happening.
yes, I
This is how
did.
you knew.
And I still
Right?
do.
Yeah.
Yes, I still.
Yes.
But the thing is, yeah, when I would astro project, and I still can, but it's as you get older, it's more dangerous, especially now in this time.
Dangerous.
But yeah, I used to astro project all the
No.
time when I was a young girl. And I used to
If I may
have the
just
tall whites come and take me.
if I may just interject there, just to back up to that a minute, you said that it's dangerous. I would like for you to clarify exactly what you mean by that. Because personally, like I teach people how to remote view or how to astral project or whatever,
Okay.
but shielding
Okay.
is important to shield yourself and to be
Okay.
protected before you jump, so to speak, is
Okay. Here's what I
really
want to say about it.
the importance of it, right? Yeah.
Okay, here's how it's dangerous. Here's how it's dangerous. If you're in meditation, if you're in meditation, okay, and you astral project willingly, then you'll be okay because you're shielding yourself. But if you go into a deep sleep and your spirit astral projects without your knowledge, then other things can set down in place of it. It can other things can enter. You have to shield
Okay. So
yourself. Hmm.
I would just like to add to that from my own personal knowledge, everybody astral projects at night when they go into the dream state. Everybody does. It's a natural thing to do. It's a natural state of being. But
Hmm.
to know that you could shield yourself before going to bed, to shield your spiritual body, right? Like I teach my
Yeah,
children to do,
yeah,
so that things cannot affect you when you're in the astral plane as you're sleeping, right?
right. Okay, here's what I know to be the truth. You have to be of love and light, because if you are of darkness in any way, shape, or form, then anything that you do is dangerous. You have to be of love and light, and
Well, I mean, yes, I agree with
what
that.
you're teaching is good, Kelly. What you're teaching is good. Okay. And you're on the right path. And you're a very
Thank
intelligent
you.
woman. So you're not going to mislead
Thank you.
anyone. I've known you for 30 years. Me and you are very much alike. And I'd like everybody in this world to know that when Kelly and I are together, the energy level field is electrifying.
Big.
It
It's
is.
big.
It is
Yeah.
electrifying big
Yeah.
time. I almost can't even go barefoot because the energy, the electricity, the vibrations. But now I feel that all the time. Here lately, and I can tell if it's good or bad. That's the thing. I know if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's important.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like by if you're gonna astral project or anything like that, you really got to be in a good state. I mean, I know we do it at night when
Right.
we sleep,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
feel like
No, I
that's
totally
something.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, you got to really be in a good place when you do those
Hmm.
sort of things, because if you're not,
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people end up. You know, if you're not in a good place, you're not uh stable in your mind, then it can go into
Yep.
other things. But that'll be another topic.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but yeah, as far as the portals, I seen a portal open up between
I
uh
think that's better.
this ain't the creek where the portal opened, not that one, but about 5 miles down the road from there, I went to a lady's house to go buy some antique furniture off of her. And I was sitting on her front porch, and she's out in the country, way out in the country is where we are. So I was out at her house sitting on her porch, and there was like a flash of light. And she's like, "Oh, the thunder's coming." And I thought, yeah, it looked like thunder, but that wasn't thunder. I'm thinking this in my mind. So she invites me in, and I go in, and uh, anyway, we're sitting down, and I'm really close to the screen door looking out into that field. where we just seen it flash a light. She thought it was thunder, but I knew that it wasn't thunder. I was like, that was not thunder. And all of a sudden, I seen a
Okay,
great big
explain.
thunder bird. I seen a
Yeah,
thunder
yeah.
bird come through that portal.
Explain what it was. Right.
The light, it was
It
like
was
a
a
big
portal.
ball. Yeah, it was a big portal.
Hmm.
Oh, it was huge. It's the biggest one I've
Yeah.
seen yet. And I've seen portals open up in the trees. I've seen portals open up right there in the middle of the forest, like going hiking and stuff.
Hmm.
And
Right.
I actually had to stop, like stop walking.
Hmm.
I was at my cousin's house, and she lives about 8 miles from me. And if anybody that's going to watch this would like to know, that's Greenville, Indiana, Borden, Indiana, and Charlestown, Indiana, and Marysville, Indiana, Clark County, Floyd County, and Harrison County, and Washington County. All the counties I've been in, I've seen stuff. But it's really hot and heavy in
Well,
Greenville.
but there's a reason. But there's a reason for that. And even on my Facebook Bigfoot group that I have on there, I just shared a map today that showed all of the places that there's been sightings of Bigfoot, and it's just thick through Indiana, just thick. And there's a
Well,
reason for that, because we are a natural portal area because of the cave
the light
system
lines and
and
stuff.
the running water that goes through the caves.
Well,
We're
we have a
right
lot of
on one of
natural
those energy.
springs.
Yes,
Yeah, we have a lot of
that's right.
natural
And
springs
we
here.
also have a lot of natural hot springs, which are lava tubes, right? So there's a lot
Yeah.
of magnetic energy in this area, and that's what creates the portals, so that people understand, that they can be in the trees, they can be in the forest, they can be in an open field. It doesn't matter like what the environment looks like. The portal can be anywhere as long as the
Well,
scientific conditions are correct for having it.
I would like to tell everybody out there, please be very careful when you take pictures. I got pictures of Bigfoot. I got pictures of fairies. I got pictures of a lot of stuff, even portals. And the reason they don't like their picture being taken is because they told me that it captures their soul or their essence. It takes it away from them. When you take the picture and you don't realize that you got them in the picture, and in your mind, that's your sole purpose, they will come after you. They will follow you. They will do whatever it takes. So the only thing I can say is, like, snap a photocopy of the picture you have, then delete that sucker, because they will come after you. And I've seen shapeshift. I've watched them shapeshift. Uh,
So you're advising people not to leave the photos on their phone or
right
whatever,
now, if you take it with a camera,
like to make your copy and then dispose of the original, is what you're saying, because
yes,
you feel like that
yes.
helps to draw the spirits to you.
Well, it does. They'll follow you. They know. Well, it's because that is their
Because
home.
you have part of their essence. You've got part of
Okay,
their
here's
essence. Essentially, it's like
yes,
the genie in
yes.
the
They
bottle.
told me that. They told me that, and it makes them
Yeah.
angry, and that's why a lot of people get killed by them and stuff because of
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Right.
they
Or
told
drug
me,
crazy.
yeah, they can do that, and they have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to shapeshift. But now I have over 3,000 pictures. Well, while I was living where I was, I got knocked down into Creek Rock, broke my phone. 5
Yep.
phones in less than 8 months.
Attacked. You were physically attacked, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I was hurt really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
And it took me a
And
whole
I
year to
can
get
vouch for that.
better.
I can vouch for that as a witness because I saw the bruises and the scratch marks and the injuries on you personally. And I also have photographs of those
Yeah, and
injuries
I'm
from you
lucky to
being
be alive,
physically
really.
attacked. Well,
Hmm.
you are, but with that being said, I want to kind of double back to where you were casting them out earlier in the conversation, and I just want to add to that and emphasize it to everyone so that they
Yeah,
understand these spirits, these apparitions, these elementals, different things. They exist all around us. They're everywhere, and
yeah,
they
and the
and they.
elementals.
But hold on, just one moment, please. Let me finish making my point here. Um, we have dominion over this earth. God gave us dominion. And so we have
Hmm.
every bit of diplomacy and legitimacy and control to cast them out, to say, you're not welcome here, or you can't come through here, or you need to go back where you came from. We have every bit of authority to do that. And people need to take that authority back because they don't understand that they have this power. And so then when they do see the apparitions or the elementals or whatever, and it's something threatening to them, they're just initially scared and they don't know what to do. And I want them to understand that they have the power invested in them, that is vested in them,
Yeah,
to say,
yeah,
go away,
because
be gone,
yeah,
because they're trying to take
hmm
over.
yes,
Yeah.
and when I was attacked, uh, they got me. I woke up out of a dead sleep because I felt like something was there. And when I woke up out of a dead
Right.
sleep, I see this tall, black, dark thing, and I screamed, "Oh, like oh my God," or whatever I said at the moment, and it literally
Right.
knocked me out. It like had a fist and had arm and hand. I'm telling you, and it come within like
Right. And just
it
said,
right here, up next to my temple.
yeah.
It knocked me out. Yeah,
And
my
you had a
head, my
bruise.
temple, everything. Oh yeah, I was messed up for about 3 weeks with my head, and then my
Yeah.
body. They um they hurt me from the inside out. It took me almost a whole
Right. They
year to
damaged
heal.
your organs, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes.
they told me quit taking
Now,
pictures, and I haven't taken a picture since.
right. Right. Now, also with that being said, those like you are essentially capturing their essence or their pieces of their spirit and putting it into the proverbial genie bottle. Also, the reason that that makes the bad ones angry is because you're putting a cork on what they can do. Because that's another way that we can cast them out of our world is to contain them, and they don't
Yeah,
like us doing that.
it's like
And
putting
with
them into
today's
jail.
technology, right, it's like putting them in jail. And with today's technology, anybody that's got a cell phone can easily capture them and put them in jail.
Yeah, and your grays and stuff feel the same way. And I can tell you about all that, the tall whites. And what I mean by tall whites, they look like the grays, and
Okay,
their eyes are
but
black,
before
and
we
they go all the way around like yes. But yeah, we can get into all that.
right, before we get into that, I just want to continue on with our topic of portals because there are different kinds of portals. So we've touched
Yeah,
on
there's different.
mirrors, water, fire, um, windows and doors even can be a type of entry or exit point. So portals are not always what people think of when you hear the word portal. It's not just some big energy form that opens up and like a spaceship comes flying out of it, right? I mean, there's all types of
Right.
portals. because there's all
Yes, there
types of
is.
realms.
Oh yeah, the
Because
realms.
even the sun itself is a portal, essentially a portal, and everything about
Mhm.
planet Earth has portals. So those are types of portals, but your doorway
You have
can be a
very
portal,
sacred.
your window
Well,
can be
see,
a
a lot
portal,
of
you know.
right. A lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of sacred land, and I mean, there's houses and everything built on
Hmm.
sacred land that people don't realize it's sacred.
Yes,
But I can walk on your land and tell you if
right.
it's sacred. I can tell you what's happened on that land,
That's right.
and I can feel the
Right.
vibrations, and I can see the spirits on that land. And when I was on this land, I seen
Yeah.
Egyptians. I seen uh
Yes.
royalty. I seen all kinds of stuff. And when I asked them, why are you here? Why don't you go away? Why don't you leave? And they said, oh, we've been here for
Hmm.
centuries and centuries. We're not going anywhere. That's what they told me.
Right. 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 And would
Yeah,
you
they told
please
me they,
just humor me, humor me here, and give a description of what they look like, and then I want you to talk about the language because I have
oh,
something
their
to add to that at
language.
the end. And
Okay.
their description
Uh, well, their
because they were
description,
very dark skinned, right?
they what? Yeah, I seen
They were very
black
dark
people.
skinned.
Yeah, the Egyptians were black. Uh-huh. Yeah, I seen
Yes.
black Egyptians. I seen some
Hmm.
Muslim people like uh oh, it was a man and he was sitting in Indian style and he had the thing on his head like Saudi
Turban.
Arabians. Yeah, he had a turban
Hmm.
and he had
A
women
turban.
sitting beside him. These women looked like they were from India, but the man looks like he was Saudi Arabian. Okay. And then
Okay.
I kept asking them, why are you all here? Why are you in like on this land? And they said, oh,
Hmm.
they can go wherever they want, but they were brought to that land. They were brought here and or their ancestors, more or
Did they
less.
tell you what? Okay, so like through travel,
Yeah, they were brought here. And
a long,
they can
long time ago.
also come through the portals. I figured a bunch of them come through the portals. And a lot of times, see, they won't talk with their mouth. But now when they would
Hmm.
talk, I could hear them. And they didn't know I could hear them talking until I said so. Once I said so, then they quit talking where I could hear them. I mean, I could still hear them, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. And prior to that, I could make out what they were saying because it would be like in
And
English
was
what I
it
would hear.
English? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
when I would
Yeah.
be in the house, it would be in English. And but there was the ones that are they're real mischief. Like, okay, you know how people will be in their house and they'll say, I know I put a pack of cigarettes on that coffee table. I set them right there and they just come up missing. And then an hour later, they'll show
Yep.
back up somewhere else on the counter or something. And you're like, there ain't no way I set those
Yep.
there. Okay, that kind of
What's in
scenario.
plain sight? Hmm.
Yeah, when I asked them, when I cried out because I was really in my mind desperate to know some other things, and I didn't have a car to
Yep.
get out to go or anything, so I had to walk. And I was
Hmm.
like pretty much stuck like Chuck. And their
Yeah.
language, their language is called Afrikaans. Afrikaans is a
A
Germanic
frickin'.
Afrikaans, and I have it all downloaded on my
Hmm.
phone and stuff.
Hmm.
I would hear them speak their language, Afrikaans. And once it
Hmm.
freaked them out because I found out their language. Okay. But how I found out is the mischievous ones that ones play tricks on you. They took a liking to me and they're the ones that come. And I was sitting in the bathroom, and I was on my phone, and I had the like a translator, and I was crying, and I said, God, somebody please just show me what this language is. And all of a sudden, this one just come right up out of the tub, because I seen them there. They was watching me. And because they can hide anywhere, they can like get on your pictures. Uh, they could be in your bathroom with you and you not
They're
know
hanging on
it.
your wall. You're talking about.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, see, they're spiritual, and they can do shape shift. They can do a lot of things. Now, not all of them can,
Right.
but
I just want
the
to,
language
excuse
is
me for
very,
interrupting you.
very
I just want
old
to interject.
African. It's a Dutch and African language, which is German and African language, and it's called Afrikaans.
Right. Right. And you've already said that they were tricksters and they can shapeshift and all of this different stuff. So for the viewing audience, I just want to explain to them that essentially this is the jinn that the Muslims would speak of. And the jinn are not subject to just that area of the world. The jinn are actually worldwide.
No, they're everywhere. They can come and go, and especially now that our Earth has sped up. See, the
Right.
thing called the Hadron Collider, which is CERN in Switzerland, they have done a
Mm,
lot of stuff. Now, I don't know if I can touch on
yeah.
that subject, but I'm saying they've opened up a lot of
Well, I
stuff.
mean, we have to be a little we have to be a little bit careful with that. But yeah, they've definitely tried to open portals to stop the light workers that are closing portals and trying to balance out everything. They're trying to work against them by opening the portals and letting more evil through.
Yeah, yeah, they really are. Um, how do I want to say that? People can think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I think I'm doing really good
No, I
by
don't
holding
think
back a lot of emotion.
you are. You are. But I don't think at this point in our experience, I don't think that people really think that people are crazy for saying this anymore. I just think if anything, they really
No,
need
not as
to
much as the.
understand better how it's actually happening or why it's happening or those types of things.
Well, I'll tell you what. My mom passed away June 9th of last year of 2022. I lost my brother, my mother, my niece, and I'm gonna tell y'all something out there in this world. 3 days before my mom died, she told me, she said, I believe you. I believe everything you have said. A lot of things you've told me, privately have come to pass. She said, but please watch what you say to people because I don't want nobody to take you and I don't want you to get hurt. And I told her, it's okay. Okay, I'm fine now. Some things uh, I don't mind talking about. Some things I feel like I have to. I have to get it out there. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
psychic slash clairvoyant people in my family. I have a niece that's real. My niece don't even come out of the house or nothing. She's very, uh, very, very psychic, and it's real
Yeah.
hard for
And
her.
reclusive.
Yeah, she's a recluse. Yes. Yeah. She's
Which is
really
normal
highly
for a
into.
lot of empaths.
Yeah. Well, see, that's like as I've gotten older, I don't go really nowhere. Uh,
Hmm.
I used to get out and walk all the time, and I don't do that so much anymore either. But I don't like this town that I live in. The town that I live in is not so good. There's a lot of darkness in this town. And there are light
Yeah,
workers here, but they're few and far between. And it's like
that's
you
why
try
we're
to find
called
them, but you
beacons.
can't. Huh? Yeah, we
That's
are
why we're called a
beacons.
beacon, because you can't have too many beacons in one spot. We got to be spread out.
Yeah, but we all got to find each other.
Yeah. Well,
We
that's
all
the
got to
point of
find
what
each
we're doing
other and
here,
come
right?
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point of doing
I
these
try not to
shows and
look.
giving people a platform to talk about who they are and finding other people that are like them and understanding that we're not alone. And it is a struggle, it is a challenge, and we do feel alone.
When I
You and
found
I,
out that
how
me
long
and
were,
you were alike,
that's what
go
I was
ahead.
actually getting ready to say. How long was it? We were friends for probably 25 years before we ever told each other who we really are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always knew there was something special about you. Like we would,
And
it's like
me with
we would
you.
not see each other. I didn't see you for like 15 years, and it's like we picked up where we left off,
Yeah.
and we have a lot in common and everything. And see,
But we never really
like
talked about it, did we?
no, no, we
I mean,
didn't.
but we share a common theme there, because your dad and my dad both, when we were little, really little, was like, button up, don't tell nobody what you can do, don't tell nobody who
No,
you
my dad.
are. They will come and
No,
take you,
no.
something.
You stop
They
and
want to
think.
test you or take
I was
you.
born in. Oh yeah, I was born
Yeah,
in the '60s. Okay,
right.
and I mean, I graduated high school and everything in the early '80s in '84.
Hmm.
And when I was a young girl, and I would tell my mom and dad stuff, and they said, "Yeah, I was about 2 years old when I started." They said I talked up the storm, but see, I'm a family of 8 children, and there were 7 of
Yeah,
us living. One died when he was
yeah.
little, and then there were 7 of us. So
And there's seven
there
of
was,
us.
yeah, I'm 7 of you all too. And but I now I'm the third from the youngest, but it's me and my older
Hmm.
sister. Now my older sister,
Yeah,
she'll tell you I don't have it like Candy does, but her name's Sandy and I'm
right,
Candy.
right,
So
right.
yeah, it's
But
pretty wild.
But don't you feel like all of your siblings have it to some extent, just whether they choose to use it or afraid of it or not or whatever? Because I
Yeah,
feel that
they're
way with
afraid.
I'm not the only one of 7 that can do what I do. Well, I mean, lots of people know my brother Rob can, but the other 5 all are very gifted too. They just in their different ways use it,
Oh yeah,
right?
but they're too closed
Or
off.
don't.
They're not
Yeah,
open. I mean, they might be open minded and accept the fact that you and Robbie's the way you are, but they are not open minded for themselves because they have doubt
right. Because it's
and
a
they have
limit.
fear.
It's a limit, right?
Listen, people, you have got
It's
to let
limits
go of
we
doubt and
impose.
fear. It's okay. We're
Yes.
human. It's okay to have fear sometimes, but then you overcome that
Mhm.
fear. And
Right.
that's what I was going to say. When I seen what I seen, okay, because they were in the house, not just in the woods and stuff outside. Okay, they were
Yeah.
in the house too. I seen a whole lot of stuff in a short period of time. I was going to have a nervous breakdown, but I
Yeah.
pulled through it. I'm serious because what happened to me is they
I
all
know.
come bombarding me at one time, hundreds
Yeah.
of them, like hundreds,
Yeah. Like
and
you
all different kinds.
broke the floodgates.
I had vampires. I had these like
Yep.
gooey looking demon looking things. They kept putting on masks. They were in the house. I had to get rid of
Hmm.
them. But when I did not show fear and
Right.
I was like, oh, hey, I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? Come on over here. It freaked them out because I wasn't fearing them. And I had
Right.
one that really tried to really scare me. Uh,
Hmm.
I was in the basement going through some books and it really come at me and I said, stop. And it was scary. Okay. Cause these
Yep.
movies they put on TV. Okay. And like, I'm not even going to repeat the names of them, but there's like scary movies on TV. I seen stuff out of
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
movies
Yeah.
because they're real.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. What I seen was real.
Right.
And I wasn't
Yeah.
drinking or drugging or nothing. I mean, I was just being me.
Right. And
And
elementals are
when
real too, and not all of them are
I
nice
can,
and pretty
I can
either,
see
right?
elementals. I can
Yeah.
walk outside and I can see all the elementals in the trees and stuff. Yeah, I can see
Right. Well,
them.
like those
Yeah.
those little spider people or whatever it was, that you had an encounter or two with. Though I think that
Oh
was
my
probably some type of an
gosh.
elemental type thing, but those were pretty
No,
creepy little
no, I don't
bastards.
know. I don't know.
They
It
were
had to
bad
be
little
something.
elemental.
Well, I thought it
Yeah.
was a Bigfoot and they were doing the spider crawl. That was freaky.
Right.
And I had a whole bunch of kids with me too. See what people need to understand. I was not by myself when a lot of stuff happened to
Right.
me.
Right.
Okay.
They were
Now,
witnesses.
when I was in Charlestown, Indiana, and I was taking my kids out we went over to the woods to the creek and went arrowhead hunting. And I will tell you this, I don't know if it's a dog man or they are Bigfoot or there's something else, but there was a guy walking his basset hound and me and him got to talking and his basset hound went into the woods. There's a creek there. And I said, you better get your dog out of there. I said, there's bad juju in there. And he said, well, what do you mean? Oh, I just, I retired from the military and all this stuff. And he was, I said, well, then I got something to show you. I said, I know where there's some burial sites right here on the wood line. He's like, what? Oh, he went and got his basset hound quick, but he went with me. And we only had to walk like 150 feet in off the roadway or through the field right there at the wood line. I said, come here, let me show you something. We were standing there and I said, you see these little humps? He said, yeah. And I said, those are bodies. I said, now, you see that one? It looks like it's about 7.5 feet long. He looked and he goes, my gosh, that's kind of wild. He said, when you go walking in the woods and you see those mounds, like a long mound, like somebody maybe dug up some dirt, but then grass grew over it and you walk on it. No,
Right.
I said, no, there's one that's like almost 8 feet long, 8 foot. And then the one was about 6.5. One was about, maybe 4 foot. And, they weren't like all in a row. They was kind of like in the same area, but scattered.
Right.
And
Right.
I took him to the freshest one and he bent over and he was like digging some of the dirt away and he pulled up black and white fur and he goes, oh my God, look, look. And I said, see, I told you. I said, I found that fur too. And he goes, where there's fur, there's a body. He was military. He was retired military.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me his
Mm-hmm.
story, how when he went in the service, he was atheist. And he said that he didn't believe in God or anything and, our creator and stuff. And he said that he was out, I guess they were in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere like that. And he said that when his other sergeants got shot and he had him in his arms and was holding him and stuff, telling him, you're going to be all right. I'm going to get you to safety and stuff. And he said that right at that time, that sergeant looked up and said, look, don't you see him? And he said, see what? And he said, about that time he looked up and he seen two really white beings. He said they didn't have, like, he could see like the outline of eyes and a nose. But he said he seen these huge, massive wings. And he said they were light beings and they come down and he watched his sergeant So go up in the air with these beings. He said, yeah, they're coming for me. And then he passed away. He said, after that, I believed there was a God. And I said, well, we have a creator of the whole world and the Bible talks about it. He said, well, after that, I believe in God. And he said, where there's hair, there's a body. There's a body in here. I said, yeah. And he said, well, I'm not digging it up. And he got his dog and he got the heck up out of there. But I mean, I did too. But I'd done been over there, you know, arrowhead hunting and all this stuff. But after we had our encounter,
There's
the work.
There's actually a lot of mounds in Indiana alone, Ohio as well, probably Illinois. I'm not
I
exactly
think
sure
those
where
are
all of the
giants,
mounds are.
though.
But
Yeah, but these are like
well,
just
giants
small,
are
like.
Bigfoot.
Okay, let me
I
say
think some are
something.
Bigfoot and some are giants, right? But we
Yes,
call
and
them
I
Indian
think
burial grounds.
right. But let me tell you something. Okay, let's say that we're a family of 15 and we live back in 1925 and we're up in the mountains and one of us was to die. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have a casket or nothing, or it was the old West. You ain't got a casket. You just got a shovel or your hands, your bare hands, but you're strong and you just dig you a trench. And it's like they put the body in the trench and then what they do is bring in extra dirt, mound it up like a mound. They'll even take and go pick flowers and put flowers so flowers will grow there. And you don't see what it is.
Right.
They do that. They do that because they don't want you messing with their stuff. And I think that when, and see, huh?
I feel like it's ceremonial too. I feel like it's ceremonial as well. You know,
Yeah, it
because
can be.
many of the burial grounds that I've seen that were Bigfoot related, we believed, looked ceremonial. You know, similar to the way we would bring flowers to the grave, or you know, whatever.
Yeah. I've only seen like the ones that were smaller. They're the ones that had they had Easter lilies on them. The ones that were smaller, but the big ones didn't. The big ones didn't have anything on them other than they were put where leaves will fall on it, stuff will grow on it real fast, stuff like that. And I went there probably 6 months ago, and I didn't walk all the way in. I just went a little ways. Well, I'm gonna say I went about 300 feet in off the main road because I was showing somebody at that time. We was out walking and I wanted to show them. Well, she got all freaked out and jumped out of the woods. But as I was scanning, I was like, OMG, that's a big one. And it was further back. So I believe they're using that area for a burial ground.
Right.
And I think, look, I'm going to tell you, I've seen some stuff in my time, but it has really, I never seen as much bad stuff as now. It's like now,
recently,
in the past about 5 years, I'm gonna say
3 years.
about, well, in the past 3 to 5 years for me, it ramped up quick. It got bad quick. And I really had to go. I had to move. Well, I had to move all over there for a while. And then finally I got moved into this place, and it's more light. It's more light here now. They tried to
But you
follow me and
also,
stuff, but I made them stay.
right. But you also sort of went through your own journey in all of this inner journey to where you had to really know your own strength and your own authority and, how to
Hmm.
hold your own against this stuff. Because otherwise, like anybody, it would have drove them crazy. Because I mean, they were
Okay.
really, really hitting you hard
Oh, it was
for
like,
a while.
oh yeah. Well, if I did not know my power, they could have killed me.
Right. Because it was physical as
It
well. Yeah.
it was physical as well as spiritual. But I will say
Right.
this. I know I've seen the dog man thing, and
Hmm.
we
Well,
seen
I feel like
something.
it's a werewolf.
Well, yeah, a werewolf. That's what I'll say, werewolf then. But when I say dog man, everybody knows about that. So I mean, but yeah, it was a werewolf,
Yeah.
and it was about
I
10
just think
feet
a lot of
tall,
people get it.
and it had red eyes. And when I told it,
Yeah.
I said, I am related to the wolf. I'm related to them. And when I said that, it took its red eyes down. I said, you ain't scaring me.
Yeah.
I'm related to y'all. I said it out
Yeah.
loud, and other people couldn't
Yeah.
see. And then two of my neighbor ladies, this is the other place I was living. I've been here where I'm at for 6 months, and I feel pretty good about being here where I'm at right now. I feel safer. I wouldn't call
Right.
it all the
Right.
way safe, but I feel like here I can get rest, because where I was, I would not go to sleep. I would be awake for 2 days at a time. I'm serious, with about an hour sleep, because I was being harassed so much. It's like once
Right.
they realized that I could see them, once they realized all this stuff, they had questions. They would send their leader to me, like in spirit and
Right.
stuff. And I could see them
Right.
like I'm looking right at you.
Yeah.
And
Because they wanted to know how you're so strong, didn't they?
yeah, they asked me, where did I get my power? They
Hmm.
said, what is your name? What is your name? And I said,
Hmm.
what? They said, what is your name? And their voice is real mechanical. What is your name? Who do you
Yeah.
work for? Who are you working for? I said, well, what's your name and who do you work for? Oh, well, they wouldn't
Good
answer me.
answer.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
answer me.
Because
They
there's
just looked at
power
me
in a
like,
name.
what? I said,
There's
what
power
is
in a
your
name,
name and
ladies
who
and
do you?
gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they come and I don't know who they summoned, but anyway, I'm just going to tell you about it because this is all part of it. They come and took me. These really tall beings. And I had never went with them before. The only ones that I'd ever went with that would take me out and stuff and show me things, they took me and showed me when I was a little girl. They showed me. Okay, I was in a spacecraft, and I could not see who I was with. They didn't want me seeing them at first. So, but they let me look out the window, but they were talking to me. Everything's done telepathically, like telepathy and stuff.
Right.
So they're
Hmm.
talking to me, and they said, you see, they showed me New York, California, parts of Oregon. Now I'm going to name all this. Let me think. Oregon, and I seen New York, and I didn't see New Jersey. For some reason, that was the only thing I did not see, New Jersey. And it went from the West Coast all the way down the South Coast, all the way even to the very tip of Florida. But they showed me,
Hold on just a second. Hold on.
okay,